Spoiler alert, we're unpacking the whole plot, twist by twist. If you're spoiler sensitive, hit pause and come back when your TBR list catches up. Cheers!
Welcome to the podcast where our reading habits are unhinged.
And so are we.
I'm Gabby.
I'm Miranda.
And this is Marginally Unwell. Today we are talking Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. Plot twists, spicy tension, cosmic secrets, and one half-day party girl just trying to stay alive. And maybe save the world.
Multiple worlds.
Oh, yeah.
All the universes. Multiverse.
But before we get into those three books, let's get into getting to know our guest, Leslie.
Yay!
Leslie.
What kind of reader are you, Leslie? Are you chaotic? Plot first? What are you leaning towards?
I really read a lot of everything. Not necessarily. I read at night to kind of get my mind off of like everything else in my chaotic life.
Got it.
Love it. We're here for
Yeah.
So all the genres, all the, everything.
She's open for business.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you lean towards a certain genre?
Not necessarily. I've been really into like the fantasies lately with the Crescent City and Red Rising, and we read Silver Flame last month. So that's kind of been my go-to lately. Trying not to start any series that are not complete right now because I feel like there's a few that are open-ended, and
Those are.
I read ACOTAR, I feel like, over a year and a half ago, and when the next book comes out, I'm like, I feel like I'm going to have to reread the last book just to get caught back up. But typically I'll read, I don't know, romance to me are like really easy reads, and I tend to lean towards anything that's like just an easy, quick read that I can kind of get into. But like I said, open to anything.
Nice. If you had to choose your like ride or die comfort read book you've read multiple times, maybe, what would you pick?
Totally random, but Grapes of Wrath is probably my favorite book.
That really took a turn that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting like a romance. You were just like, okay.
Yeah. I read it the first time in high school, and I don't know, I've always been a reader, and I don't know if that was the first book that I really, like, the imagery in that book really connected with me for some reason, and so that was just, we weren't required to finish reading it in class, and I finished it.
Because it's not required to read an assignment.
We weren't required to finish it. We were only required to read, like, to a certain chapter. I feel like it, because the book is a pretty big book.
Yeah.
Especially for a high school read. I don't know if it was, like, time restraints, kind of, like, as far as, like, curriculum. Who knows?
That's crazy. Never heard of that. But
I don't want to say we had to read all our books, but all of the books that we were assigned in literature, we had to complete them.
Yeah. It's the only one that we weren't required to complete. Like, all the other ones that we were assigned, we had to finish.
Interesting. What is one genre, trope, book type that you absolutely refuse to read?
I don't think that there's anything that I refuse to read, but I read less horror mystery books than probably anything else, just because I don't like to be scared and because I read at night. I don't like to go to bed, and have bad dreams. I like my sleep.
I don't know why this is so random and nobody else is going to get this but me, but whenever I first found out that you didn't really mess with horror, for some reason that really surprised me. I don't know why. I thought that you would be totally into it, but something about knowing you just gives like horror. And so when they were like, "No, Leslie, no," and I was like, "What?" I have no basis for that claim at all. Why I thought that, but that is so interesting.
There you
go. So there's some romance in these books. Would you feel like, I mean, you kind of said that there's nothing off limits or you read everything, but do you feel like romance is a non-negotiable, tolerated, or only if it's messy enough to cause like emotional whiplash?
No, I'm down for any type of romance, whether or not it's, you know,
Crazy.
yeah, a one night stand kind of thing, you know, that's only mentioned like briefly in a book, or if it's like the whole entire novel is, you know, a little, I mean, everyone could use a little smutty action every now and again.
True.
In my opinion, anyways.
I think that's everyone's opinion at the table.
Spice it up a little.
Yeah, it does change it. I feel like it changes the book's tone.
Absolutely. I mean, and it gives you different connections and different levels of connection between the characters.
Yeah.
I also feel like sometimes romance can break a book for me.
Yeah.
So
if it's done poorly.
yeah, don't like that. Previously on Dragon Ball Z. I think it's last time, isn't it? That's a whole other thing. Continue.
If your reading taste had to be summed up by 3 unhinged tropes or aesthetics, what would they be?
I don't even know.
Non-horror.
The opposite.
Yeah,
horror.
right?
Sunshine and rainbow.
Definitely not sunshine and rainbows, but I'm really into the easy reads.
Easy reads being Sarah J. Maas.
Wow.
I'm really into the easy reads as we're about to dive into these 3 massive books.
You know, each book, 800 pages, no big deal.
Easy.
I don't know. I guess
Is that
something that
afternoon?
like, it's got to be an interesting enough plot for me to really feel connected to. So I know that's way more than 3 words.
It's got to be engaging.
Yes.
And finally, my Crescent City. What drew you to the series?
For this episode.
So I read ACOTAR, like I said, a year and a half ago. Loved it. I don't know if you had already known about it by the time that I had started it, but I think did I start it before you?
What? Crescent City? Or
No, ACOTAR.
I think we started it around the same time because I know we were like talking about it.
I know we talked
and
about a
then
couple of the books.
You may have started it before me, but I like blew through them.
Yes.
And so.
And I blew through them too. I think that's just an easy.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I don't
it's
know.
not
It was around the
easy.
same
It's a
time.
crazy, all of these like series. Lots of plot twists, lots of characters, can be lots of confusion. But reading that and then talking with you and your, can I call him husband?
Yeah.
Fiance?
Yeah.
Suggested Crescent City and thought that I would really like it. And so I jumped into book 1 very slowly, and we can get into that if you want to, but jumped into that book 1 slowly and then just devoured books 2 and 3.
Yeah.
It was slowly. Like,
It probably took me 2 weeks to get through the first chapter. Yes, chapter 1. And it was after a phone call, or, you know, I had a chat with Joey. And he's like, well, wait until you get to chapter 2. And I was like, okay, like chapter 1. Like,
Absolutely. A wild thing to say.
that is a wild thing to say
After getting through
seeing.
ACOTAR.
I was about to say the first one. Gabby, because ACOTAR was
Oh my
on my
gosh.
TBR for the longest time, and then Gabby's like, I read the first one, and you're almost done with the first one. Or where were you?
I think I was almost done. I was almost done or done with it.
Yeah. And so she's wanting to talk to me about it. It's like, okay, I hadn't read it yet, so I'll finish it. I'll read it, catch up to you. And I was like, what is this? I hate it.
It sucks. Nothing you recommend.
Like,
And then she said that to
yeah.
me.
She's like, just wait till like the last 20% of the book. I was like, last 20%? I have to get 80%
I
of
was
this
like,
book
I
done.
promise it'll be worth it.
Oh my
But yeah, it was a struggle for me to get through the first like 3/4 of that book. For sure. So it's crazy to be like,
well, and I don't know. I feel
First
like
chapter.
I know. I feel like I started the book and it was, I have 3 kids, which y'all know. But I feel like I started
I know, vaguely.
3 kids is like 100 kids. What do they say? In a donkey in a tornado. But whenever I started it, it was towards the end of the school year. End of the school year is chaotic. My kids play all the sports. All of the seasons were all ending. And so I think by the time I got in bed each night to read, I was and I read on a Kindle. I would maybe get through like 1 page on the Kindle, which isn't even a full book or a full page in the book. and maybe 2 pages, and I was like falling asleep. So all during the first chapter, like there were multiple times where like I would literally fall asleep reading, and I would wake up because my Kindle would hit the floor, and that would wake me up. I'm like, I guess I fell asleep. I guess I was a little bit more tired than I thought I was.
I do think fantasy is one of the harder genres to read whenever you're tired, because there's so much involved in them. There's so much character, so many characters, so much world building, all the things.
Well, and I feel like it's just the very beginning of the books, though, because I mean, from my perspective, is once you get into it, then it's hard for me to even put it down, and I'll stay up till like 2, 3 o'clock.
Then by that time you're so invested,
and I'm like, oh, I gotta know, I gotta find out what's going on next, and you know, so.
But the first little bit, you're like, who is that again?
Yes.
Wait, where are they?
And we can come circle back around to that part.
All right. So that's Leslie. That's why she picked Crescent City. And now we are going to jump into
Reviewing
the series so far, because it's not finished like every other series we're reading. Why don't you kick us off?
Okay. What was your emotional state at the end of each book? And did Sarah J. Maas personally attack you, or was it just us? So I feel like she has a really good way of just twisting the knife at the end of each book.
I don't know if I necessarily felt personally attacked. There was definitely, I think at the end of the first one, I was like, what? And like had to get the second one. Because it kind of ends.
The first one or the second one?
I think it was the first one. I mean, are we doing spoilers here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
We talk about the whole plot.
Okay.
Free to say
So
anything
at the end of the first one, I mean, she like saves the world, or saves Crescent City from all the demons. And then like she kills an archangel, Hunt kills an archangel, and then it's kind of like the end of the book. And it's like, well, what happens? Like, and then she does the drop at the very end of the book, which I was expecting sooner in the book, but it doesn't happen until like she fights all the demons. But she like everything happens like all towards the end. And then so when the book ended, I was like, oh, this is what I've been waiting for the whole entire book. And now here we are, and I want to see like what she does with this and how the world evolves and how like her and Hunt's relationship evolve.
Yeah.
So.
And then they were talking, I think at the like very end was whenever it got brought up about like Hunt's dad or something like that. There was like a weird conversation, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, who is he? And so, yeah, I was kind of with you on that. Not the worst cliffhanger I've dealt with, because...
Yeah, I have to say, I think like the first Crescent City book, it could have ended there. There are a lot of like loose ends.
To me, there were a ton of loose ends.
I didn't feel like there was...
I feel like if she wanted to continue the series, the loose ends are there to continue it, but I also thought it was very good as like a standalone. Like, I thought that it wrapped up the majority of big ones.
Yeah, I don't think any of the unanswered questions were so big, but you did want to keep reading for sure. Other than that one.
Versus like, what I mean by that is like the first one's ending to the second one's ending.
Because the second one's ending. I necessarily remember how the second one ended because I picked up book 3 so quickly after the second one.
Second one ended with her going to Corinthian and seeing.
You don't remember how the second one ended?
That's
she met the guest stars. The crossover.
Yes.
That one was like obviously
I was dying.
Yeah.
I immediately.
Yeah, because she's there and she's like, okay, I remember now. Yes.
Yeah. So for some context to that situation, Joey and I were reading it at the same time, and he had not read ACOTAR yet.
Okay.
So we're reading like 50 pages at a time, and then we would kind of chat about it, whatever. And so he read the 50 pages, and he was like, oh, nothing like really happened, whatever. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I read it, and
you're like, what?
Yeah. And I was like,
I was waiting.
I remember calling you, and I'm like, it's everyone. Like, it's all of them. Like, I thought that it was just a couple because I had, cheated and looked online and saw that there was some crossover. I didn't necessarily I didn't necessarily, well, I just saw, I like to read the headlines. So I saw that there was some crossover. I didn't know who the characters were. And I just assumed that there would only be like maybe 2 character crossover.
You thought it was
Like,
just-
yes.
Yeah.
And it's a
Part of the
full on,
plot.
like, she meets everyone in Akatar.
Yeah,
Like,
she goes to the world.
yeah,
and,
like
yeah.
their main court.
So then I was freaking out.
Yeah.
I was like, I have no idea what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I called her because she had already read them, and I was like, what? Like, I need to get this out right now.
Pace yourself on the 3rd one because you couldn't just devour it. You had to pace yourself because
Yeah.
you were buddy reading.
Yeah,
it.
because we were still, and so that.
It was funny. It was a good time for me.
You're tortured.
I don't want to say book 1 was disappointing to me because I feel like anything when you're doing like multiverse or you have like the dystopian like world, I guess.
World building?
But yeah, the book 1 was all like character development and describing like the different houses in Crescent City
And how their
and
magic
so
works.
yeah, it makes complete sense that some of the things that I was wanting to happen, like I was expecting her to make the drop much sooner in the book than like at the very end of the book. It makes sense that that's the way that, Sarah J. Maas wrote the book because there are a ton of characters and I feel like she did a really great job of developing each characters and their relationships with each other, and describing all of the houses and how they kind of feel about the other houses.
Yes. So, on the topic of character development, how did you feel about Bryce as the main character across the series? Like, how she changed? Do you feel like she changed a lot or just like survived harder?
I think you would be
more
amiss
stubborn.
to say that she didn't change at all.
Sure.
Even though, at the very beginning of the book, she's portrayed as like a hardcore partier. You find out that she's like 20 something years old, which in context to other people that are hundreds of years old, like she is very, very young.
She's doing a baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that, she is acting the way that she is acting. And then once she kind of like evolves into her powers and her role in her world, she doesn't ever lose that edge, which I really liked and appreciated because I can appreciate someone who's going to be very like straightforward and honest with you over someone who's going to sugarcoat. And she never backed down to like anyone who approached her. She always kind of gave that sass and attitude, kind of not bitchiness, but
She was who she was. Like,
Yeah.
and she didn't like
She
make
was
apologies.
unapologetic
Yeah.
with
Yes.
herself.
And I feel like it is easy to, especially in fantasy worlds, we see heroines who are consumed by saving the world, whatever it is, and then like that's their whole personality.
Yeah.
And I feel like this was a lot more of she was this whole person and then got into this situation.
Yes.
Not that like that's all.
and she didn't want to be, another spoiler, like she's the princess. She didn't want to be a princess. And she makes it very well known throughout the whole entire book
Yeah.
that she never shies away from the responsibilities of what a princess would do to take care of like her people.
Yeah. But she's like, I don't have to, like, responsibility wise, she's like, I'm going to show up and I'm going to
Yes.
fight.
But I'm
like,
not
I'm
gonna-
not going to be super happy about it.
Yes. I'm not
gonna
shaking hands and
complain.
kissing babies.
For sure.
I didn't really think she did that with the princess title. I thought that she was always gonna, because she wasn't raised underneath the court. She was raised by her human mother. So she didn't grow up in that kind of world and setting. So I think she brought her own development and her own character, and then it was just amplified with all of the responsibilities that
Yeah.
came with
Yeah.
it.
I think that's a good way to put
Yeah.
it. That's kind of what I was getting at was like in some books that I've read, I feel like instead of it amplifying it, it like masks it. And
Yeah.
it's like they just become all about this title that they're now dealing with and the responsibility that comes along with it instead of also being their own person with it.
Yeah. It consumes them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely like that. What did you like about Bryce? And what did you not like about Bryce?
I can't remember what I think the first thing, there was something really early on. Was it because she was a redhead?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes.
Yes.
I knew it was like first chapter, and I was like, I love her. And there was something she said, and it was like some sassy, some line that she said. I can't think of it because that was 3 books ago, or a million books ago, but 3 in the series. There was one line that she said, I remember, I thought it was really funny. I'll have to go back and find it. If I find it, we'll put it on the screen.
She does have really good like one-liners for sure.
Yeah, and I was just like, love her. And again, I think it was something about embodying that, like, yeah, I have to do this because like who else is gonna do it? But oh god, I don't want to.
Yeah, I'd like to watch my reality
Because that would be
TV.
me.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
yeah, right.
I will, but like there's nobody else.
Reality smut TV too.
Yeah.
Like, let's.
The Love Islands or whatever. The pods. Whatever Lahaba was watching.
Oh yeah, I forgot her. I thought it was like a soap opera.
It was
TV. I thought it was a soap opera too.
Oh, I thought it was, yeah. Anyway.
That's what Lahaba watched, but I think Bryce watched the reality TV.
Could be right.
I don't know. Maybe we're all wrong.
Probably.
Probably. It's very, first 3 chapters of like the very first book.
Yeah. Well, Haba watches it throughout the whole book.
Talk about Lahaba.
I know.
It makes me sad.
Honestly, it was so sad when that happened. I didn't think I was going to get as emotionally attached to her as I was. But she was
I think it was their
feisty.
connection.
Yeah.
So Lahaba ends up sacrificing herself at the end of the book to save Bryce's life. And I think just the connection that the 2 characters had made it emotional. So when she dies,
When
like
she
I
called her
remember I
BB
called
again,
you.
I was
Yes.
like,
Yes.
straight to my heart.
I remember calling you and I was like, not Lahaba, no.
Poor Lahaba.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
I loved that she like lusted over all the male characters.
Yes.
Whenever like Hunt and Rune were there, and she's like, "Bring them back. When are they coming back?"
That's
my
so
gosh.
funny.
Dying. So speaking of the male characters, what were your initial thoughts of Hunt, her love interest? How do you think his character developed or their arc?
I feel like they're
Progressed.
very like yin and yang. He's, which I think then you see it at the end of, or towards the end of the 3rd book when they talk about like where his power comes from, darkness, and then she's more light, and how he charges her. Like you kind of have to have both to serve, well, like literally charges her, right? Like,
Yeah.
That was an aggressive
which
gap.
then the tension between the 2. Okay, so I liked Hunt and I liked his character.
From the very beginning?
I feel like from the very beginning, yeah. I don't know if it was, I just assumed that, oh, okay, my husband has an affinity for Hallmark movies, and it's always,
That's hilarious.
it is. But it's always like, you have one character that goes back to whatever small town, like from the big city, and they end up like hating each other, and then they fall in love. And so I feel like it was very apparent to me that they absolutely hated each other. I'm like, oh, well, they're obviously going to fall in love.
Yeah.
Yes, love. Done. Getting married, having babies, all the things.
To be fair, that is my own love story. Because we hated each other.
That's hilarious.
Oh my
the
gosh.
old enemies to lovers.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like though he came from a very like harsh reality and had a really harsh background, like lost the love of his life, was tortured for, decades, and just kind of had a chip on his shoulder, rightfully so. And then meets Bryce, and I feel like kind of her lightness, literally, kind of rubbed off on him a little bit. He just, by the end of the book, he was like, well, all I want to do is just marry her and have kids and just live in our own little safe
wanted the
bubble.
soft life.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
So he, definitely was like, took a 180, degree turn from where he was and headed in life.
Yeah. I think I agree with you, the like yin and yang thing, because I feel like they did that for each other because he was so like rigid and very like military, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And then you have the opposite, this like,
rambunctious,
Yeah.
party girl, and like, you know, especially in the beginning, things like that. And she just like
impulsive.
did not
Very impulsive.
care what
Yeah.
anybody
Yeah.
thought. Like, it didn't matter what she had to do. She's like, I'm still gonna do whatever I want. So I think he grounded her some, and then I think she kind of softened his life as well. So I agree with that. Then we have Rundanen. Did you trust him for like from the beginning, or do you feel like it took a while for you to warm up to the Crown Prince?
I feel like it took me maybe a little bit, but I don't know if I was necessarily like 100% like untrusting of him.
I don't trust nobody. You can ask Joey every time we talk. I'm like, I don't trust him. I'm like, I don't like it.
He's got to prove himself.
Yeah, no, I didn't dislike him. And I do feel like though he was probably one of the ones towards the end of the series that I probably like I liked him more than what I started out with, you know, reading the book. But I don't know if I necessarily disliked him at the beginning. Yeah. But I feel like his character definitely developed and he played more of a protagonist and really like a brother in kind of that quote unquote big brother role.
Yeah.
Being Bryce's brother. I think he showed up and Sarah J. Maas wrote him as, you know, the typical big brother.
Yeah. I didn't dislike him. I just didn't trust him in the beginning. Like, I'm all here for a good villain, you know?
Yeah.
But I was just like, I don't know. Is he actually gonna, like, when it comes down to it,
And the fact that his magic was like shadows kind of foreshadows that, you know, he is a little bit like mystical and creepy and, you know, could maybe turn on you and dark. Energy. But
yeah.
Not so much.
I don't know. I liked Danon off the jump. I did. I was annoyed by him.
Moral of the story, I don't trust anybody, apparently.
Well,
I mean, he liked to party just as much as Bryce did, I feel like.
Her entrance into the whole thing was the same. And so I was kind of like, I had reservations with him initially, but I was more open to it, to seeing what the character did. But overall, I liked his, I don't know, like style, demeanor, character. Because he always was with, what was it, Flynn and Dorian? Declan, I'm thinking of Throne of Glass.
Oh gosh.
Dorian, yeah.
Why did you say that to me?
My bad. I don't know. But, you know, like the three frat guys, I like the way that
I did like that dynamic.
Yeah.
They were funny.
The frat house.
Together. Yeah.
I thought that, just side note this, I really liked how, well, I'll say this for all of the books that she's written, but I really like how she develops her side characters. Like, they really have a voice, you really know who is who, and they have their own standing in the books. I really like that. And I really liked his dynamic with them throughout the series and how it grew. It was funny.
It was.
I was like, oh, this is my favorite part. What are they doing today? Burning down the meat market, or like, I don't even know. They had a whole lot of like side adventures. That was fun. Exactly. So brings it back to me. Oh, which side characters?
Well, we know who you think.
I'm gonna be real. I thought that's where you were leading.
No, I just happened to go into that. So yeah, I didn't mean to sway you if I did.
No, I feel like the side character in the first book that really stole the show for me was Lahaba.
Yeah.
Like, hands down.
Yeah.
She was a feisty little fire sprite and like let everyone know. And she had the hots for, you know, all of the male characters. Yeah. But she was very loyal. And so for me, book one was her. Book two, I don't know if necessarily anyone stole the show. You know, Cormac is introduced in book two.
Is that the cousin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He, to me,
I liked him.
and it wasn't until like the third book when he sacrifices himself.
In and out.
Yeah. But You know, so maybe Cormac in book 2, and then book 3. Who do we have?
I
in
really
book
liked
3?
him in book 2 when he's like, "Why are you bringing your boyfriend? We're engaged." I really liked how he always just threw that in, and Hunt was just like, "I hate you." I'm sorry.
No.
Book 3.
3. I'd have to think about a side character for book 3.
For book 3, I really liked the necromancer. I don't remember her name, but she was
The Queen Hypaxia?
Hypaxia.
Yeah.
I liked her. She was always just around and just
Yeah.
down for whatever.
I feel like the character development of Jessica really comes out in the third book.
Love
And so you talking about Hypaxia.
Honestly, Jessica makes me think of you.
Me?
Yeah.
What?
I feel like if you just were like super rich and lived forever, that would be, you would be
100%.
her. You
So-
would like have this crazy weird art collection and be a diva.
But I don't think it was necessarily like art collecting as like a side
No,
hobby for her. And
It's
it doesn't
her
really
mission.
come out until
Yeah.
the third book that
Why?
she was a keeper. Excuse me. I forget what the name of it was, but I mean, she was like one of the original people on, what is it, Parthenon? Or what is the island that they go to? No, I don't
It
even
was
remember.
some kind of, she was one of the, I want to say archivists, but it's not. She held on to the art, one of the librarians, and she saved all of the books originally from the Asteri.
Yeah.
When it like burned.
When
Yes.
it burned.
Yeah.
She,
Which we really did not find out until
Until the end,
The end.
towards the end of the third book. But
So-
her character development really comes out. And, you know, other than that, she's just kind of, you know, in the first book, she's Bryce's boss. In the second book, she kind of like does some favors for Bryce. Nothing, like everything comes with a cost. And so she kind of like, I feel like, and I've said it about Hunt, but you know, she's kind of portrayed as like having a chip on her shoulder and like, oh, well, you know, this is going to cost you. Like she's been done over
it like that.
dirty.
maybe
I took it as more like she stands on business
she
always.
stands on
Yeah.
business.
Not necessarily
and
like
I'm not, and things aren't free.
yeah.
Like you have to learn this lesson.
See,
That's how
Yeah.
I learned.
that's why. It's like she's here.
It's like I'll help you, but you gotta have like some skin in the game.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how I took it.
Yeah.
But
This is why she gives off Jessica vibes.
There you go.
but I, speaking of Jessica, and when we were talking about the library originally burning down, isn't it hilarious that she had Lahaba in her
Yeah.
antiquity store?
Yeah.
And
She's
who?
a fire sprite.
Oh,
She
yeah,
could
yeah.
literally
But
burn
she like
everything
Yes.
down.
had it.
Yeah.
You would think that she
Yeah.
would be like.
No fire.
Yeah.
PTSD. That's funny.
Yeah, I think I agree with all those characters. I mean, I feel like number 2 for me, the obvious is the guest appearance from the crossover. The
Oh,
side characters.
Rhys.
That's a little bit
Rhys.
unfair though, because I had a whole relationship with them. Yeah, I love Jessica and Lahaba.
trying to think.
Second book. Yeah.
I really liked Ethan in the second book. I really think that he had a really big, out of all of them,
Was
and
it the,
he
it may have been
he-
the end of the first, but it was,
I think it was the second one, but I mean his character arc too is like
he
he's
had a
by
really
the end.
big,
He's
yeah.
like the prime,
Prime.
and, like
well, because whenever he's first introduced, he's introduced as like the younger brother and needs
Yeah.
help and just like literally.
I guess
does.
Yeah.
technically he was introduced in the first one because they were talking
That's
about
right.
going to his sunball game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever, because he like played sunball, which I was picturing as baseball.
I didn't. You know what? I was like sports.
I pictured it as like Quidditch from Harry Potter, like, but without
Wow.
the brooms.
Without the brooms.
That's crazy.
I was literally thinking like basketball. I don't know. And there's like
I was
don't
looking
know.
it up afterwards because I wanted to know what people thought about that. Because in my head, I was like, he's playing baseball. Like, that was fully what I pictured. And a lot of people said basketball, too.
I was thinking basketball, but
To me,
I
he gives
also-
off like very like rugby vibes.
he's also a wolf.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, Ethan. So, let's rate the chaos. What plot twist absolutely wrecked you, and which one did you see coming?
The plot twist in the second chapter of the first book completely wrecks me when Danica dies, Connor dies, like, and I feel like that like shook me so much because
She got
by
through
the end of when I finally
midway through the second
completed
chapter, you're like,
the
I'm
first
in.
chapter, I was looking for like the character development between Bryce and Connor was so great to me already that I was looking forward to her finally giving Connor a shot after all these years, just to then come down to like chapter 2, the very next chapter, like he's slaughtered and just left in a heap of like mush. Like I was completely wrecked by that. And then right out the gate.
When that happened, Gavia called me and she's like, oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, what happened?
Because I was like,
What
they're all
happened?
dead. And she was like,
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
bro, are you serious?
Yeah. A twist that I kind of saw coming. Not necessarily. I didn't know that Lydia and Hind were Daybright, Agent Daybright, but I had an inkling that it was someone that was like very deep in. And so, and there were definitely hints that she gave that, I mean, it makes sense that Pollux was pulling her whenever she was in, mind speak with Rune. So
gross.
Alex?
Yeah.
So that one I kind of saw coming.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I don't think I really had any inclination of like who it was, but I was like, it's somebody that they know.
Yeah.
I was like, for sure, it's gonna be
someone
like
that they know
somebody
and
on
hate.
the opposite side.
Yes.
Like that's what's about to happen because he's in love with somebody who he
Yes.
doesn't know. He's about to get
Obviously.
catfished.
Yes.
I was like, if you couldn't see that coming, like all the red flags are there, bro.
What about you? What are your plot twists?
I did not look at the headlines, so I had no idea that there was a crossover at all. And so when that happened, and I think it hit me even more because Joey was like, nothing happened in this chapter. So I was going into it like, okay, cool, I'm gonna just like read through it real quick. And then I was like, what? Wait, who? I think I was like reading, and I think I like sat up. And I was like, no, I did not read
Your
that
face
right.
instantly flushed.
Yeah. I was like, I'm sorry, what is there? So that was the big one for me. I feel like, again, not that I knew who, but I knew for sure that she was somebody from the other side. But it was still good. I didn't feel like it ruined it for me, but yeah.
The Lydia Hind.
Yeah, her being Agent Daybright, yeah.
I'm trying to think through the plot twists.
I also think that like them getting slaughtered, I don't feel like it wrecked me. I did not make emotional connections like very
That
quickly.
early, yeah.
But I was very shocked by it. I was like, okay, so all the characters I just learned about are gone.
Yeah.
So let's start over.
Right.
It's like, I was like, well, I'm so glad I learned their name. Yeah. What do you got?
I mean, another big plot twist, that not necessarily shook me was Bryce making the jump or the drop without an anchor and not doing it in like one of the normal gates either. Like that was a big one to me, like that she was just like, F it, like balls to the wall, like I'm doing it. But then,
So in line with her
Danica,
character.
it is. But Danica shows up. And then just the conversation that they have, like that kind of like wrecked me a little bit too.
Oh,
and when
emotionally, for
Danica
sure.
comes to the Black Gate or whatever it was and so she's like calling out through the speaker system and she's like, light it up, Bryce, light it up. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'm getting like emotional. She's there for her. She's gonna be her anchor. Go, Bryce, go.
I will say, as messed up as this is, it's always the best friends that get me every time. The like men, I'm like, I don't care about that. But somebody's best
and can
friend,
we
I'm
talk
like,
about-
okay, great.
For a minute,
Just like that, it's the worst day of my life.
the betrayal or seeming
gonna-
betrayal
yeah, I was
of
gonna-
Danica, like doing all this research and knowing all these things
Yeah.
and
The
not
sin.
telling anyone. And that she, like, the hammer is her boyfriend or her mate.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. What's his
many
name?
things.
Demetrius or what is it on the list?
I don't know.
He's the one that turns into a hound.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't put his actual name.
Yeah.
I literally put the hammer.
So that
Forster Angel.
Yeah.
that was
She lived this whole life outside of her friendship, and I really liked that Bryce was like, "What the fuck?"
Yes.
Again? Every time she's like, "No, never, Danica."
well, 100%. Like
I'd be
questioning
like,
your
girl,
like friendship. Like
I
I
even
thought
know
we
you?
were best friends. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, who are you?
Throughout the whole series, Gary's like, "If you ever," and I'm like, "Bro, projecting."
Tell me. I'm gonna come back to haunt you.
She's like,
So quick.
"Were they even friends?"
Honestly.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
She had a lot, but I also like that Danica like really tied her into things without her knowing about it.
Yeah.
Like,
She definitely set it up to
Yeah.
where, she knew that her friend was smart enough to figure it out. And I feel like she already knew that her friend was not mature enough to handle the responsibilities and maybe handle the truth about what was going on. And probably knew that, hey, one day she will be, because she is smart enough and she is badass enough, being half human, half fae, to really do something and make an impact in their world. And so, yeah, her hiding the horn and her tattoo, like that was kind of a plot twist.
Yeah, that was good.
That I was like, what? And she hid the thumb drive in her jacket because she just assumed that, she wouldn't throw it away. So there were some little, in the, like her manuscripts or her research papers that she had written in college, like left them in her coffee table. And then she didn't find them until her coffee table like got smashed.
She's literally like, here's all the breadcrumbs.
I really liked how Bryce was so just Monica about her apartment, about the white couch, and like who went in there like bleeding everywhere, and she's like, my floors. I think it was Ethan.
I think it was Ethan too.
It's like, get your feet off of my white couch. I'm like, why do you have a white couch? All these boys around.
And you wonder why I relate to her. Like, stop.
Coaster.
The rings.
Okay, the Asteri are revealed slowly. Did the big picture live up to the hype for you, or was it like, oh my god?
Get there already.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean, I don't know if there was really necessarily any hype for me about the Asteri. I think they were portrayed pretty accurately throughout the whole entire series. I mean, there is the plot twist of them like feeding on all of the light.
Vampires.
But you knew that they were like evil people. And so to me, that wasn't shocking. It wasn't shocking to me who they were.
When they're like the Asteri talking about them, I was like, the Volturi. Yeah. I was like, I could not get it out of my mind about the freaking, because one of them was like described as like a 12-year-old, 13-year-old kid, and like, you know what I'm talking about? And then they're all like these big mythical people, and they're the ruling class, but they're like basically power vampires. And I was like, man, this is like the Volturi. What are your thoughts on them?
Sick.
Parasites.
Yeah. I don't know. I do feel like because it took us so long to get there, I was a little underwhelmed by like the resolution. I guess I was expecting, much like the Volturi, you're expecting like a lot more being that many books in, and then realizing like essentially it was them the whole time, like causing all these problems and finding out that they're feeding on them and everything. So I think I was a little underwhelmed by that, but I mean, their premise and like who they were as like the villains, I feel like it was good. It was interesting, I feel like, to read about, but I wanted some more conflict.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like it took them 2.5 books to like really understand what they were, and then the last third of the third book is like planning and fighting and whatever.
Yeah.
And in her Akawar book, it was basically the whole book. They're fighting that war.
That's the kind of aggression I'm trying to get.
So I really like some kind of fight, the reveal, something at the end of the third book, and then maybe like a novella or something where it like really goes into like their actual, because if they're feeding on all this power, the first light and then the second light, and you're expecting them to be like super powerful, and then all she does, I don't want to say all she does, but like essentially she throws them into a black hole, into another black hole. And I'm like,
Yeah.
cheap shot. So
With though, can we say that all like this cylinder or whatever that was collecting all the first light like went into that vortex in that black hole first? I don't know. I feel like she's leaving it open for them to come back in the fourth book.
I mean, maybe we'll finally get the
maybe they'll get their revenge faster than, you know, Rhysand's world.
Yeah.
They're waiting 1,500 years.
Yeah, 1,500 years. No big deal.
A blink of an eye.
So, talking about the black holes, other worlds, all the things, what's your favorite world building detail or bit of lore that made the Crescent City universe feel like unique or unhinged over other fantasies maybe that you read?
I don't know. Y'all go first and let me weigh in.
That's not how this works.
We asked the question.
But I can go. So I thought what really threw me, because I had read ACOTAR and then I read Throne of Glass series before I read this one. So going into it, I knew it was going to be like that Fae kind of world, but I was not expecting like the modern thing. I was not expecting them to like drive cars or like have cell phones, and it took me, I want to say like 5 chapters to like get over it and not think twice about her texting, which I thought was, I get it, but I thought it was hilarious that they can still like talk to each other mentally, but they're like texting each other. I'm like, okay. But what I really liked about this book was that the whole city was running on their power. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was like a little bit of socialism, and I thought it was like, it also powered all of their technology. So it powered like
All the cell phones.
all the cell phones. I don't know, was it the gas too? Who knows? I thought that was really unique to this world in particular. That
Yeah.
was different than any kind of like fantasy. Usually fantasies like there's riding horses,
Yeah.
you know, bow and
Yeah.
arrow kind of thing.
Yeah. I really liked the modern thing. I did not have any issues with it. I thought it was cool because of reading so many fantasies, and yeah, it sometimes can be like same thing is happening. Like,
Yeah.
okay, they're walking forever because
Yeah.
they can't drive.
This is a whole side quest just so they can get to their destination. Yeah.
I don't know if it was unique really, but I love anything with like an underworld aspect. That's just a me thing though.
The world.
Yeah.
Like what?
Like with the
With hell, the
Like
7
just-
layers of hell, and
But, and then, again, not unique, but I liked the crossover thing. I was really stuck on that. And I honestly, I think I'm so stuck on it too because I'm so pissed at myself for not seeing it coming. Because after it happened,
I was
after it
surprised at you.
happened, I was like, oh my gosh. I said to Joey so many times, I was like, oh man. I kept commenting on the fact that she kept saying like calls to like. And I was like, why? I didn't see it coming. But
What part of the reveal did you get it? Like, did you get it whenever he was like, I'm Rhysand, or did you get it?
no, when she first described the bat wings, that was when I
Yeah.
sat
You're like,
up,
hold on,
and I
was
was
there
like,
too. Yes.
I was like, who is this about? I was like, I know who this is, okay?
But which one?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, is this Cass or is this Ass? And I was like, something's happening.
How
So,
fast did you read that chapter?
yeah, I was like, and then he called me, and I was like, you're a liar. Nothing happened in those 50 pages, but obviously he didn't
Which
know.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, he had no
He
idea.
hadn't read it yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the fantasy, to me, like you always have the magical aspect. And in this book, like everyone has their own powers, which completely normal. But I think then the element of the Asteri introducing the parasites. And so they all kind of had untapped powers that they didn't know about.
Oh, you're talking about the water?
Yeah. So they had parasites in the water that like dampened their magical abilities. And so once certain members or characters were cured of that parasite.
The antidote that who was
Hypaxia.
it? Hypaxia got in like a day.
Yeah.
So you go, girl. You do it. Scientist.
So, I mean, I think that was maybe kind of surprising to me because I don't feel like, yes, characters and the heroines normally have, like, they always kind of have like an untapped power that like they just need to reach down deeper, you know, to get, because they've always, yes, you know. But this one is like literal untapped magical powers.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was
I
surprising
thought
to
it
me
was really cool
as
that
far as fantasy.
Yeah.
Wait, just to piggyback what you're saying, I really liked that. Was it Ethan? One of the werewolves took the antidote and they had elemental powers, which I thought was pretty interesting.
I don't remember.
It was
I know the hind took the antidote and then she had firepower. She's a deer shifter,
yeah,
but also had elemental powers.
You know what? That's too a good point. Is I feel like it was interesting at how different they all were, because I feel like even in other fantasy realms, they all like have access to the magic, and then it kind of fits into like one of 4 categories,
Yes.
or like they're better at this thing over that thing. But I feel like there was a lot of
Crossover.
and a lot of unique.
I thought that too.
Differences.
I like that. I like that, but I also kind of chalked it up to it being more modern, and because it's like a melting pot. Like they kept describing
They're
the
getting like
Crescent City.
hybrids of everything.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
And then
That's
they
a
didn't
good-
even know about it until
Yeah.
like their powers, like you said, were
Yeah.
awakened or tapped into. So, but I do see what you're seeing. You're saying with like other fantasies, because they're kind of more. This is my kingdom, and then this is my domain, and then they don't really intermingle.
There's no
other than
intermingling,
like the chosen one.
Not the chosen one.
Not the chosen one. So speaking about books, the books in the series, there's a major shift in tone between the books. How did you feel about where the series took from book 1 to book 3? Like, how did you think of that progression?
I feel like it
transition?
was a very like progressive, you know, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but book 1 was very like character world building, which I think is very typical. Book 2, you know, typically enters, you know, a couple of plot twists, here's some more villains, and then book 3 of this particular series was kind of like more of a conclusion. You know, I've talked to a few people that have said, you know, after this book 3, it could kind of, like the series could be done. To me, I think there's still some villains that are still out there that could wreak some havoc.
The Great Value Volturi are coming back.
I think I do. I think they're coming back. I think the Viper Queen is still out there alive, and she's like a havoc wreaker. Yeah. So, yeah, I think there's definitely room for, but you know, I think that it was very building and kind of conclusive.
I think I've told Gabby this before, but I always like the 3rd book in any kind of series. I always like the 3rd book. I always like the 3rd season in any kind of series, because the first one, setting the tone, you're building relationships with the character, you're getting into like that world and it's immersive. And then the second one is always the planning and like the mission holding and then all this stuff. And the 3rd one, it's usually like everything comes together. I think that's where it really pays off.
I don't know. I definitely felt it, like the progression of it. The first one I feel like was like so straightforward, like who she thought was like the bad guy, basically. And then we kind of got into this, and we already heard my opinions on how it ended. I don't know. I kind of think that you're right. I feel like maybe it's not over, or maybe that's just what I'm really hoping for, because I was a little let down by that. But yeah, I don't know. I liked the progression of it. Still, I don't know, except for that second chapter that went wild out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
I agree.
Yeah.
Second chapter.
The one where they all got slaughtered.
Oh, dude, again, see, listen.
I swear, you just like blocked it out, because every time
Well,
we bring
and
it up,
so
you're
I
like, wait,
think
what?
what was so shocking to me and why I was so still floored about like between chapter 1 and chapter 2 of book 1 is like all of the characters too. All of the characters, there's so many characters always in fantasy.
Yeah.
But characters were referring to the same characters by different names. So like Bryce is Bryce Quinlan, first name, last name. Well, like one sentence would be someone calling her Bryce, and then the next sentence someone would be calling her Quinlan. And I don't even know who this chick is yet, like in the first book, because I'm literally reading like half a page at a time. So I'm already having to flip back, like, who is this? Is Bryce and Quinlan, like, are these different people? Who is Quinlan? Who's, like, and I feel like, you know, there were multiple times until I really got the characters down, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
You should really have a glossary.
So I don't know if you know this, but since you said that you read on the Kindle, there is a feature where you can click on their name and it'll show you everywhere it's been brought up so far.
Yeah.
So it won't give you any spoilers, but that way you
Okay.
can like easily look back
And reference.
and be like, oh, okay, it was this girl.
Okay.
Yeah. So there.
Use that feature.
It comes in handy
Yes.
with the
Yes.
fantasy ones. For Red Rising, I was like,
Yeah.
what? Who are you?
Total side note, but when I was reading what is George R.R. Martin's
Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones, he has glossaries.
Well,
And I really liked that. I wish they had that here. 'Cause
some of
that's
them do.
Some of them do.
I know
This
you
one,
can look up, they have, you know, cheat sheets or whatever
Yeah.
online that you can look up, and it'll
Sure.
give you like the whole, like, you know, this person is in this house and these are their powers and these are who they're related to.
The other one, I don't know if all of them had it. I guess not, but Onyx Storm had. One of them had all the dragons and riders. Like,
yeah, I think that was the third one. Yeah.
so there's that. I know that we've talked about the multiverse drop a lot, but just to, I guess, conclude that, did you like it? Did you like the crossover? Did you feel like it was too much, like too forced or something? Or
I don't feel like it was forced at all. I feel like it ties in like very well with the Asteri and how they've gone through the universe and just like devoured other worlds. And so it makes sense and ties in like very nicely with the plot that, you know, that there is a crossover. It's a little like mind blowing to me because the ACOTAR series is so massive and Crescent City so far is so massive as far as just pages and characters and plots and twists and all the things, but I appreciate the crossover. Having read ACOTAR, I mean, obviously, if you hadn't, it can stand on its own, but I think just loving ACOTAR, and then now there's this crossover in Crescent City, I'm just like reinvested in ACOTAR.
I'm interested to see the next ACOTAR book and how the crossover comes back into
well, and I
ACOTAR
feel like
world.
it has to come back into the next Crescent City also. Like I don't know, maybe
you
I'm
would
just
think.
hoping that it comes
Or
back.
it's gonna go over there and then maybe that'll be
Yeah.
that and then it'll be like back over into their own lanes. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm interested to see where she takes it. I really liked it, obviously, as you can tell.
I'm here
What do
for
you
it.
think?
I thought it tied in really well. I mean, with the horn and what they said that the horn did, even from like the very first book, I felt like it tied in really well. I think that if you're paying attention to the writing,
Apparently I was not.
she hints to it a lot, and then also with her other series, it goes into that too.
Yeah. I mean, you've got the twin blades also that in one world, like one blade is lost, and in the other world, the other blade is lost.
Yeah.
You know, if you're paying attention to her series, which
I'm gonna say, I really like this author because she really thinks things through and plots things out. It's really
I'm like, how, girl? How did you think? You're thinking so far ahead in so many different series.
Yes.
Like to be able to make them make sense like that and
Yeah.
intertwine is crazy.
and without it being
Like, how do you live like that?
Without it also being like on a mic drop, you know, like it's like
It wasn't just dropped in there.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say too. Is like,
is very well planned and very thought out,
yeah,
or seemingly so.
yeah. I think so. I think that it was very well thought out, and I'm surprised that I like it because, not to relate it to TV, but there's some like crossover with like the Flash TV series and stuff. And I did not like them. It was like a 4-episode crossover between like Flash, Supergirl, like 2 others, and they had 1 episode on each like series.
That I don't like that.
And then it was like I wasn't watching all the other one. I also feel like it didn't ruin it for being that Joey had not read ACOTAR. Like,
Right.
obviously I had a bigger reaction having
Yes,
read it.
yes.
But I also didn't feel like it just like
It can totally be a standalone, like,
because he went back and then read ACOTAR and still loved it
Yeah.
and everything. So I thought it was interesting how well they mixed, but then are still their own.
yes.
Yeah.
And so I liked it. I'm interested to see where she goes because her planning, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I want to see what her notes look like.
Yeah, honestly. What does your planner look like?
Do you just have a whole room of just like
That's what I
I feel like
envision.
this third episode that we have talked about a board with.
Really,
we
it
need
has to be like a detective. Like that's what I envision, right? Like when someone's like psycho, like stalking someone, and they have all these pictures and the red lines connecting and
Yeah.
little like blurbs written out. Like that's what I'm envisioning.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I need that. But
She does it very well.
yeah, so whole series overall, I mean, I feel like we got a good, like, overall that you enjoyed the book, but would you say that you would recommend it to others? Books.
I don't feel like if you're not into fantasy reads though, I don't think it's going to be as enjoyable because you have all of the fantasy world building elements. And if you're not here for that or open to that, I think it's going to be a difficult read. But you know, if you like a good like heroine, you know, saving the day kind of thing, it's definitely would recommend.
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend. I do.
You did.
Yeah, I recommend not to you directly, but
To me.
Yes, to you. I also think that I would recommend reading. If you're going to read all of her books, I do recommend reading it ACOTAR, Crescent City, then Throne of Glass, or Throne of Glass first. But definitely, and I would recommend that type of order. But
I mean, and I definitely agree with that order. I would say hands down ACOTAR is 100% spicier than Crescent City. So if you're not in it for that, I feel like still Crescent City can be a standalone
yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, series. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I do definitely agree with that order though, that you read ACOTAR first before you dive into Crescent City, because then it just makes that crossover when it happens like so much more. I don't know, I just relished it more.
It
yeah,
was so much more impactful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then being like, nothing happened.
nothing happened.
I'm like,
No big
duh,
deal.
not for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm dying.
for
The mist clears, and, you know, and it's like, oh,
the Miss Clear.
she's there, I know this world.
Yes, it's very good.
Yeah, I really like her style of writing. I know you've read all of her books. I am in deep in Throne of Glass right now, so
Yeah.
working through that.
I haven't read Throne of Glass, but I feel like too her character development is like, I don't know, like it's just great. Like she does a good job of developing characters. She does a great job of building relationships that, you know, are impactful and kind of resonate on to different people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yes, she has a very diverse character lineup. Yeah, I really like her characters. I really like how she builds on not just the main ones.
And with this one specifically, I feel like the story engagement was so good. I know you had a hard time in chapter 1, but like,
Yeah.
we had to push through.
I mean, aside from that, like once I got into it, like I was,
Once the slaughter happened,
Yes.
it was just like thing after
Yes.
thing happening.
Yeah.
It was just
it was hard for
constantly-
me to put it
Yeah,
down.
it was so good.
I do think that with this series specifically, I think I've told Gabby this the most about probably is that her series obviously are not all completed, but out of the ACOTAR, I liked 3 out of the 5 books that are in there.
Yeah.
And this series, 3 out of 3 that are released now, I've liked. And then the Throne of Glass, there's 8, and I like 7 out of the 8.
Okay.
So I would say that this one's so far my most liked, but I'm like tentative with it because it's only 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I think Throne of Glass is better
Yeah.
so far because that's completed.
Yeah.
Joey and I have struggled like talking to him about this because I feel like Crescent City is better overall, like the whole book, but I feel I am emotionally tied to the characters in ACOTAR more. I love the characters in Crescent City, and some of them obviously I have like really strong ties to, but there's something about them in ACOTAR that I just am like, so I don't know, I don't think I could choose, but I love this one a lot. So with that, you can give overall rating, or if you want to do individual for the 3 books, what do you think?
I mean, the second book to me wasn't, obviously there had to have been enough in the book, but to me it just isn't as memorable as books 1 and 3 were. And I don't know if that's because it was more of like plot development and introducing like another house, and I feel like it focused a lot on like Therian, who we haven't even touched on.
Is it the merman?
Yeah.
That wants to be a land guy? I was
Yeah.
like, okay, Ariel. The whole book, yeah.
And
those
he's
legs.
probably the one,
Sarah J. Maas
like,
has a thing for like rewriting Disney characters.
yeah, you asked the question about Rune and whether or not like my trust changed in him, or I thought that he was like Therian to me is 100%, and I feel like it has been written throughout the series of being in it for himself, and he's probably the shadiest character of all.
Yeah, I agree. That one's the most.
But yeah, book 2, I don't know if we're gonna go like out of Starlight. I feel like
Starlight.
yeah.
I love it. Very on theme.
Book 1, probably like a good solid like 4 Starlight. Book 2, maybe 3.5. Like I said, just like it was good. I had to have maybe another 4, but because as soon as I finished like book 1, I was wanting to dive into book 2, and then as soon as I finished book 2, like I dove straight into book 3, and I like just like wrecked book 2. I read it. It's 800 pages. Like I said, I work full time. I've got 3 kids. I read it, I think, in like 2 weeks, which is, I feel like pretty.
That it took you to finish one chapter?
Yeah. So there had to have been something in it, and and like I said,
I mean, that's where the
just,
crossover happens.
Yeah, it is.
So,
it is, and that's towards the end of it. And maybe that's why I was, excited to like pick up book 3, is to find out like what was going. But then really like book 3, like I think another like solid 4.5 stars. Starlight Power. It's a really great book. I think the Asteri Power is a little underwhelming as far as like how. Like you said, not that it was easy for her to defeat them, but I wanted like more of a battle.
Yeah.
And I know like everyone came in, and like Hell came in to help, and there were a lot of forces there.
There was a lot happening.
Yes.
So I don't want to be like,
Yeah.
It wasn't underwhelming, but it didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't the whole entire novel, but though, I mean, you've got 800 pages in, every single novel. So, but it was good. And then it ties up nicely, still kind of leaves a few loose ends, where she can pick up if she does a book 4. I'm hoping for, because it was an enjoyable series.
Yeah.
So I think overall, I think it's a solid, for me, like 4.5 stars.
For the third one?
For the whole series.
Like overall.
Yeah, overall.
What about you?
I did not give any of them lower than a 4. I think the first one I gave a 4. And I want to say the second 2 were a 5-star.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that. I probably need to go back and look at what I rated it like right after I read them. Overall, I'd give it a 4.5 for sure. I think the overall series was so good. And like you said earlier, there's only 3 so far, and she hit on every single one of them. I have not.
And maybe I'm just stingy with my, giving out 5 stars, but
no, yeah.
it was a great series. Like I enjoyed it, and whenever I finished the 3rd book, you kind of get that depression of like, okay, what am I going to do now?
Oh man, that's the book hangover. Yeah. That's the worst.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I
with
related to
fantasy
Bryce
series.
a lot. I think is really what the main character is what drove this one for me. And like for ACOTAR, some of the not necessarily side characters, but kind of side characters, really built that up a lot for me.
Yeah.
So maybe that was the difference. I don't know.
For me, I'd have to I read them so long ago. It was like over a year ago. So, but if I remember correctly, I think the first one I gave 5, the second one I gave 4, and the third one I gave 5. So I'd say overall, so far, a 5-star series for this one, because it's I thought that it was really well planned out. I think that this series had a lot of action. It was fast paced, and once you get into it, it's hard to put it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel like there was ever a point. Like I said, I was reading this along with Joey, and so we were reading 50 pages at a time. And we do that with tons of books, and so we kind of just read through a bunch of things. And I don't feel like throughout this series there were ever 50 pages where we, other than whenever it was like nothing happened.
Yeah, nothing happened
during this major thing. But it was like every single time we had so much to talk about, and so I loved the pacing of this book. And there was never a time where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm done.
Never really felt like too much.
Yeah, it also wasn't like trying too hard just to
she
shove stuff in.
spent like a good amount of time like in each chapter or part or whatever, like developing what it was that she wanted to develop without leaving too many like loose ends, loose things.
I agree.
Yeah, so that's Crescent City. That was our first whole series that we've done an episode on. We've only done single books, so.
And I feel like there's still so much that we didn't even like.
We didn't even touch yet. Yeah. There's no way we were getting everything in those 3 books. You know, our general episodes, we go a little bit more into like
the plot.
Yes.
Yeah. And this, it was kind of a broader thing because I was like, we'll be here for eternity.
Yeah, like there's so much to talk
7
about.
to 10
and that
business.
We would definitely need our board.
so many side characters. Still that like as we're continuing to talk, I'm like, oh well, I really liked Bryce's stepdad. You know, he was a great side character, especially in the 3rd book.
Yeah.
Randall.
Randall. He's such a basic.
And I feel like even though they said that Emil doesn't have the Thunderbird power, like
Emil.
I feel like he does. He has
was
to.
like a thing. I mean, there was tons we didn't talk about.
Yeah.
And twists and characters and all the things. There was a lot.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was a great recommendation to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Okay, so next week is going to be our 5th week of the month. So we're going to do something different. We're going to do our very first special episode, and that theme is going to be our bookish confessions. So the bookish confessional is coming. We'll get into that next Sunday. Hope to see you there.